Hey guys, Chris here, and I'm Ukrainian Canadian. Today is August 19th, 2024. And let's get to the news and map updates happening in Ukraine and Russia, shall we? So let's continue our coverage of the Ukrainian offensive in Kursk, which is going really well, and the momentum continues. Although, to be very honest with you and frank, the momentum has definitely decreased compared to the early phase of the offensive on August 6th. So Ukraine right now is really focusing on the western side of Kursk. So that is everything towards Tyotkino. So one thing, as I've shared with you guys in my previous video, is that Ukraine started attacking and bombing the key bridges that connect this Glushkovo district, this region, with the rest of Kursk, because there is a river passing through here. And so Ukraine focused this weekend on destroying all three of these bridges. And so it's been confirmed today that officially Ukraine managed to destroy all of them. Russia also has two pontoon bridges that they built, but it appears that they haven't been using them. So it showcases that whatever troops, Russian troops, are left here in this sector, they're going to be surrounded very soon. And for the next few weeks, Ukraine might even double the territory that it currently occupies in Kursk. Today, Zelensky also confirmed that 92 settlements are under Ukrainian control and over 1,250 square kilometers have been taken by the Ukrainian forces. And Ukraine obviously continues their push. You can see that parts of a very important city here, Koronevo, is under Ukrainian control. And further north is the city of Rilsk. So Ukraine could have even ambitions to go towards Rilsk if they have the ability to do so. So this is great news. Ukraine continues on with its push, and it appears that Russia simply isn't answering back. It's been almost 2 weeks, and there's no indication that Russia is able to mount a counter attack in this sector. And we can confirm that because Putin is trying to brush this, sweep this under the rug. He hasn't mentioned anything about an invasion. He's really downplayed this situation, and it really shows that Russia simply has no strategic reserves to spare for Kursk. As a matter of fact, yes, Russia right now is trying to assemble some forces and trying to bring them to Kursk. As a matter of fact, even forces and troops that are currently in Kaliningrad are being deployed in Kursk. Some forces from Kherson, from Zaporizhia, but Putin is unwilling to sacrifice the current offensives that they have in Donbass, that is more specifically Pokrovsk, Mirnograd, which is the most difficult one for the Ukrainians right now because Russia is indeed gaining ground, and he's unwilling to sacrifice that push that Russia's having to do a counteroffensive in Kursk. So this is both a good and a bad thing, meaning that Ukraine can continue pushing in Kursk, but at the same time, Ukraine also faces a difficult situation in its own territory. So it remains to be seen for the next few weeks how things will develop, but certainly I'm pretty confident that Ukraine will be able to take this entire pocket. At this stage, it's a pocket because the Russians are surrounded from all sides. Practically, there's a river behind them, and on each side, there's Ukrainian presence. So expect more Russian prisoners of war in the next few weeks, and likely that Ukraine will try to tone it down afterwards because, of course, Ukraine is limited by the amount of troops they have available and also the logistics. They can't be stretching their logistics far too far away from where they're currently at. So I don't believe that Ukraine will obviously be able to march all the way up to Kursk city, but indeed the buffer zone will really help out the Ukrainians in continuing with their initiative and really forcing the Russians in a difficult situation right now, where indeed we have been seeing them trying to pull out different reserves from other areas to try to, pull out a certain defensive line in Kursk. So you guys can let me know in the comment section what you think Ukraine is going to be doing for the next few weeks. Do you think that after this consolidation in this area, Ukraine will continue pushing, or should Ukraine kind of stop and maintain the current territory that they have occupied and liberated from the Russians? You guys can let me know in the comment section. So the other joyful news is that Russian oil depots continue to burn, and thanks to the Ukrainian UAV campaign that started the beginning of this year, they continue striking these very critical oil depots and refineries that are in Russia. They're helping the Russian military continue their aggression in Ukraine. So on the evening of August 18th, so that is almost 2 days ago, Ukraine struck this oil depot located in Rostov. There is about 20 to 30 oil storage tanks located in this oil depot specifically, and the fire continues. So the Russian firefighters were unable to contain the fire, and to this day, even right now, the fire continues, and there's been a secondary explosion that occurred because the firefighters weren't able to take it under control. And so as a result of that, dozens of them have been also wounded and injured. So overall, this is great news. Let's continue donating to the Ukrainian UAV Foundation so we can continue seeing beautiful bonfires in Russia, such as these ones. Now let's continue to another great news from Denmark. So Denmark today confirmed that they're going to allocate about $160 million USD to support Ukraine's military needs. So that is funds that will be directed to the purchase of new military equipment from the Ukrainian defense industry and international partners, which is really interesting. So this is essentially Denmark is planning on financing and helping Ukraine's defense industry, which is a really smart move because Ukraine also needs to develop its own defense industry, to be able to become more independent and not have to rely on partners constantly giving Ukraine tanks and other UAVs and drones and trucks and armored vehicles, so Ukraine can build a very strong defense industry. Ukraine already has a pretty strong base, but Ukraine further requires more investments from the West. So this is really great news, and a huge thank you to Denmark, which has been one of the strongest allies of Ukraine. And overall, Scandinavian countries and also the Baltics have been the strongest allies of Ukraine, to be very fair with you. Let's not forget the UK as well. But overall, huge thank you to Denmark. And we know that as well, Denmark has pledged close to 20 F-16s that will be transferred from Denmark to Ukraine in nearby future. So we should also be seeing more F-16s flying in Ukraine, and hopefully more pilots being trained and more fighter jets flying to protect Ukrainian skies. So thank you, Denmark. Now let's go over the last news, and this is just a surprising news because I wasn't expecting that. Prime Minister Modi from India, essentially I was expecting him to come for a visit to Kiev, and it's been confirmed that he will visit Kiev right before the day of the independence, which is August 24th. So Modi will visit the capital of Ukraine on August 23rd. And essentially, it's been confirmed that he agreed to relay messages between Russian President Vladimir Putin and Volodymyr Zelensky. Essentially, he's just going to be a messenger, because we know that Modi went to visit Moscow a little bit over a month ago. And I believe that also the reason why he's visiting Ukraine is because he literally visited Putin when he approved one of the most brutal terrorist operations on Ukrainian soil, when he attacked the children's hospital in Kiev, the Okhmadit Children's Hospital. At the same time, Modi was visiting Moscow and he was shaking hands with Putin, which really gave a very bad look for India and the Indian government. And so I believe that this is kind of Modi's move to showcase that he's neutral, he's working on both sides, he wants peace, and he's not just working with Russia. So I think that there's also that aspect and that reason why Modi's visiting Ukraine. And we know that, of course, unfortunately, India has been facilitating Russia's war against Ukraine by purchasing very cheap oil, as it's mentioned in this article, and also been purchasing air defense systems and other weapons from Russia. So I believe that although Modi might try to appear as pro-Western, pro-Ukraine in this visit, what we should be expecting is an India that continues to be non-aligned and is trying to extract as many benefits from both sides as possible. So that is the news for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed my update. Please let me know in the comment section what you think about any of the topics I covered today. A huge thank you for your support, and I will see you guys in the next one. Slava Ukraini!